phone, it just keeps going. I don't have a lot of battery here. That's why it keeps going out. Here we are. Yeah. Hi, everyone. We are live on Coaches Scaling Secrets. Hi, everyone. And this is not our usual time, but this was the only time with Miss Busy Radiance Thompson, who now has a full-time business outside of her corporate job, which we're going to talk about. I was dying to interview her at this point in her journey to making an impact in the world. So everyone meet Radiance Thompson. I'm going to just start asking her some questions so we can kind of look at her journey from where she was to where she is today, which is incredibly successful. I just asked her how many clients she has right now. She's got 8. So, which is an extraordinary amount of people to be serving at one time. By yourself, pretty much. You do have an assistant, which is great. And I advocate for that around the 6 months mark when you're building is the perfect time to start delegating over to an assistant. And we actually share the same assistant. So we adore her and take very good care of Patricia, who is our yes gal, right? So anyway, Ray, tell me, we started working around, I think it was December, January 2020. So let's back up before that, like in October of 2019, you haven't really met me. You are working in a lab, in a biogenetic lab, something like that.
Yeah, it's a biotech lab.
A biotech lab, going in every day, 5 days a week, doing overtime. I remember you were doing a lot of overtime. You have 2 children under the age of?
At that time, they were under the age of 10, but now I have a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Yeah, okay, jeez. And you were working spinning plates, but knew this lab job was not for you. There was something inside of you, your soul's calling, waiting to burst out, right? Yeah. So tell me about what was happening like in October for you of 2019.
A lot of confusion as to how to go about things, how to go about building a business, who to talk to, how to talk to them. I knew that where I wasn't where I wanted to be, not only at my biotech job, but in my business. I knew that my messaging was very off, and it just seemed very inconsistent. So, I was just very lost. I just didn't know what to do or how to do it and how to start.
And as I remember, you were thinking about doing more meal plans, going the nutrition route was like drawing to you, because we were talking about that in the beginning. And you made a shift. So what was that all about?
Yes. So I was originally doing a lot of food planning. I had literally one client in 2019. That's it. And it was more centered around food and meal planning, and I'm not saying that meal planning won't ever be in the future, but at that particular time, it just wasn't making sense in the way that I was promoting it. The way that I was messaging and advertising myself, it was very off. And then I got a Reiki certification in January of 2020. And then that was when I realized that I needed to be doing more of that, more healing, more. Now that I look back and I'm saying this to you now, I realize it's because I was still in a lot of healing in my own self. So in helping other people heal, I was actually healing myself too. So that was where I was in that part of my journey last year. So then I started to do more of the spirituality, more healing anxiety and depression. And then eventually that shifted into helping empaths and highly sensitive women tapping into their gifts. And it's just been a lot of shifts overall, really, over my my year of being in business as a Reiki master now and spiritual coach, it's almost like the more Reiki sessions and the more spiritual coaching I do for others, the more I change too. So it's been a consistent evolution.
So do you feel you are at your soul's calling right now?
Yes, yes. It's literally, I'm learning something different, something new, something that I can apply to myself or my clients almost every day, you know? So, absolutely, it's just one of those things where you just know you're doing what you're supposed to do.
So why did you reach out to me and want to hire me to help you? Like what was going on? Like what did you notice in my program or who I was being or how I was educating? Like why did you reach out to me?
I saw that your group was growing and it had a lot of, comments, and it had a lot of engagement, and it had a lot of and it was very consistent. So I noticed that, and then you did message me. You did also interact with some of my posts. So you didn't just go for the jugular, like, oh, let's work together. You at least tried to get to know me before you said, okay, I have this program. So I did enjoy that, because I didn't feel spammed. I felt like you at least tried to know who I was as a person and how you could help me before you asked me about your program. So that was very nice. And, I liked your vibe. You seemed to be who you said you were, and that was good.
Yeah, terrific. I remember us starting together and then you were like you went away. Like, and I think what happens to a lot of people is that they're overwhelmed with what you need to put in place as a business, which is completely different than your coaching in your area of expertise, and then marketing and sales of your business is a whole different gorilla over here. And I remember you telling me that you loved the beginning part when we were talking about choose one ideal client. Just talk to in your message to one person only instead of thinking that you're talking to a billion people out there. Like very much narrow down who is your perfect avatar, which will make your messaging easier to communicate until you start to really get your voice. And I think that's one of the biggest things when people start to work with me. It takes a while to get your voice online, right? Because you're trying with things. You're not confident, you're unsure, and you're scared, right? But the more you do it, right, did you notice the shift in your voice and your message online?
Yes. I was thinking about that the other day too, because sometimes on Facebook, your old posts and old things like pop up and you're like, oh my gosh, I wrote that, or, just like, what was I thinking? But yes, my voice absolutely changed over time, but it took me putting myself out there. I think a lot about there's this one post that you did some time ago. Um, Maybe it was last week, where you were like, embarrassing yourself is part of it, and if you're not risking the embarrassment, then you're not risking you're not going to be able to obtain the success part of it either, basically. And I embarrassed myself quite a few times, but I took the risk, and with the big risk, now I'm starting to reap the reward of that risk.
Right, right. So with any new business, it's, trying things on and getting your voice and start, you're talking to the void here, right? Most of the time until you actually people start paying attention. So, yeah, embarrass yourself up the wazoo in the beginning. I mean, I can't remember, how many times I was on a live and I had to delete it, you know, right? Delete it because they couldn't hear me, or I was like fumbling, or it wasn't making sense or something like that, until and it's just also keeping a list of what you did a year ago, 2 years ago, of messaging, and what can you Now, oh, I was so didn't have all the elements of that message in place. I was just giving them a piece of it. I can give them so much more now, right? Because you feel comfortable sharing the information now, you know. I agree. I agree. So, what do you think was the best part of the program, the membership program that you stepped into? How did that help you set up your business and your messaging, sales, whatever? You know, what did you gain from that?
From your, like, the modules that you have,
Mhm.
that really helped me a lot because I can still go back to them and I can still say, okay, this is what I need to do when it comes to my ideal avatar. You know, I'm always refining that and understanding, okay, how can I speak more to this person? Especially now that I do have multiple clients, you start to know, okay, this is what I like to work with. This is what I, you know, maybe isn't as much of a fit, right? So you start to, okay, this is what I like, and you know, you start fine tuning your ICA, your ideal client avatar. So I can still go back to those things, and that's what I really enjoy, um, because like you said, I went away, but there's multiple times in your journey where you're like, okay, I'm a little bit cloudy on this area. Let me go back to this and see how I can get better at it. You know, so I really like that about your program, is that you still allow us to have access to some of these things so we can continue to grow. Because, you know, to say that we'd be able to have everything together in the beginning, you know, it's, you know, that would
No
be very
way.
small.
No, yeah,
But
no way. No
yeah.
way. And it's just clicking. It's just you're getting better and better. And every time I know that you're doing workshops now that lead into your program, every time you do a conversion event, those are called conversion events for you guys out there. So they're either a workshop, a challenge, a boot camp, you know, you can call them all different kind of things. But the first time you do it, you know, you might get one client or you may get 10, but you're refining your message and the structure of it that leads into a program. And that's the whole thing with now my program is called My Client Accelerator Academy, because we've included conversion events in there, you know, how to set them up. But you know, if you're brand new and you don't know how to build an audience yet, you're not going to be putting out testimonials, right? You're not going to be putting out testimonials, or you're not going to, you know, if you don't have content out there, you're not going to be building your audience, because if you build your audience, what are they going to be looking at? So there is a sequence of events that occur, right, over time. And where you're at right now, Ray, which is like a year and a half into your business, is now you're going back into the program and say, what can I refine, right? What can I, you know, really tweak and make better? Let me see what Dallas said to do, and it will click more. You couldn't take it any. You know, in the beginning, there's only so much bandwidth you have to suck up new information. So what's great about the program is it leads you down a path, right?
Right, right.
You can
Absolutely.
access it and go back to it when you're ready for the next thing. You know, the key is to get your lead generation, which is building your audience going, so that you're constantly bringing in new people, right, that see your stuff, and putting out content that's going to make a difference, that leads to the invitation to work with you.
Right, right. And I like that you said that, you know, not having the bandwidth. And I mean, it can just seem like so much in the beginning, especially because it's brand new, you know, it's almost like you're an elementary school kid learning things for the first time. And you can't go from first grade to sixth grade and thinking that you just have it all together. You have to go through the steps. So I really like that you said that, because that was on point.
Oh, yeah, it's overwhelming, you know, especially if you've never taken a course. I mean, in the old, you know, years ago, we would take little courses in chunks, and many people have taken chunks of the big process, but then they don't know how to put it together either, right? Because you don't know how to do email marketing and content marketing, and how do you link them? Well, there's a whole big piece that's missing, you know, and what this my program will take you from the beginning of your process of looking at who do you want to work with. what problems are you going to solve, to, okay, how are you going to get them closer to you, nurture them, and then convert them into clients, and do it over and over and over again. It's not a once done. And I feel like all these new people that are getting certified as health coaches think that all they have to do is get on, pull up a business page on Facebook, and people are going to be attracted to you. Not going to happen, guys.
No.
Not going to happen. The first year, 2 years, it's all about you and the work you do to generate a following, connect with people, and then you will start to see other people are recommending you. They're sharing their breakthroughs they're having with you, success they're having with you. And so you will get referrals, but that doesn't happen overnight.
No,
You've
it
got to be
doesn't.
committed to the long term, right?
Yes, yes.
And like you completely built this full-time business online and could let go of the corporate job. Tell me about that. Tell us about that. What made you decide it's time?
It's just one of those like, okay, so as you know, we've been going through a pandemic for some time now. It's been over a year now that we have been going through this. And it really, really, really put a strain on me and my family, especially being a single mom, because I did not want my kids to go to a school. I didn't want that. I didn't feel safe doing that. So that costed me a lot in terms of childcare, in terms of, having to travel back and forth to family members, whether that be 80 miles away or 15 miles away. Always just, it was complete chaos trying to maintain going to a job in the pandemic. So,
and they still wanted you in there.
Yes, I still had to physically be at my job. I'm an essential
worker.
worker.
Do it at home.
No.
So then, and your children, so you had to bring your children to family members or relatives or friends to teach them school, to
yes, I'm homeschooling them, or someone else would have to homeschool them, or I'd have to pay for a sitter to come in, and in-home sitters cost way more than an actual daycare facility. So it was costing me thousands of dollars just to maintain going to this job. And it just got to the point where it's like, this makes no sense. Like, I'm just working to maintain this job, and I don't even like this job. I appreciate the job because I know that there's millions of people that lost their jobs. And I'm not saying that I don't appreciate it, but when you know that it's not something you're meant to do, it starts to chip away at your soul a bit when you keep going somewhere you're not, isn't for you. So, and when I met you and then we started to work together, after, I kind of went away a bit, I actually did about 50, 60 Reiki sessions for free, just so I can start learning how to do this, start learning how to really tune into my energy and their energy and, provide a service. And then, I kept doing that. I kept doing free Reiki sessions. At some point, I'm pretty sure I reached about 100 free Reiki sessions. And then I started to build my business. I started to ask, do you want to work more closely together? And I started with shorter packages, I want to say this though, 4-figure packages for at least 3 months. So always I would do that. And then that started to build and become more. So I made $10,000 last year. All of last year I made $10,000. And I was like, okay, if I do this full time, and if I really put a lot more effort into this, what can I do? So now I have 8 clients that are paying me, and I have 2 scholarship clients. So I have 10 total clients, but 8 of them are paying me actually. So now I've already made what I made last year in a few months because of the consistency and because I realize, okay, if I can continue to grow, the clients will want to grow with me and they'll want to re-sign with me too, So that decision of leaving my job was for my kids and also for myself, and also because I know it's time to build my dream on my terms. and no longer subscribe to unfortunate. It's just what I feel like it is. It's a form of corporate slavery. I mean, you have to ask permission to take time off to take care of your kids or to take care of yourself. You know, it's just too much.
I like how you put that out there, corporate slavery, right? You know, you've got to follow all the rules and regulations, and, you know, there is no freedom to be, at all. And so bravo for you for breaking free and taking a risk on you and your family. So tell us about your program. I'm sure there are people, unfortunately, I cannot, my phone is, let's see, I'm not seeing who is on here. Let me see if I can pull this up. But why don't you tell us about your program? So if there's anyone on here who's interested in working with you, they know what you do.
So I'm going to go slightly slow because I did this with my clients the other day, and I sometimes when I get a little bit excited, I just talk really fast. So I make sure I talk slow. So what I do is I help empath women, not just, so my group is called Empath and Highly Sensitive Black Women with an X, and women is spelled with an X to include non-binary women as well. However, I don't just serve Black women, I serve women of all colors from all over the world. I've served women in 5 different continents of all shades and all sizes. So I
Women.
That's clear.
Women.
Yes. So as a Reiki master and spiritual coach, what I do is I help guide empath women and highly sensitive women through their shadow, through the repressed
What does that mean,
emotions.
shadow? What does that mean? People don't know what that means, shadow.
Yes. So
The
shadow
dark
is,
side.
it can be called the dark side, but it's the side of you that you don't want other people to see. Maybe it's the side of you that you don't want yourself to see. You know, some of the things that you know about yourself that are holding you back from really reaching your true potential. Perhaps you have the shadow of needing validation. Maybe you don't have a lot of trust in people, so it causes you to be recluse. Perhaps you are afraid to put yourself out there, so it causes you to be recluse. Things are part of your shadow. You know, any hidden part of you that you don't show to yourself or to the world out of fear is part of your shadow. And usually in your shadow, you have some of the most amazing innate gifts that the world is waiting to see. But you have to go through your shadow. You have to go through the pain to get to the power, basically. So I show women how to go through the pain, how to go through those parts of themselves that need some work. And then from there, I show them how to find their gifts. And what's amazing about my program is that I use your own genetic code to do this. So it's a brand new way of looking at your shadow. And
How do you figure that out?
a lot of people haven't heard about it. So what you do is you go into something called the gene keys, and everyone has a specific gene that perhaps there's a lot of shadow that needs to be worked on. So I get your information, I get your birthday and your location of birth and your name, and then we can configure your specific shadow sequence and where to find your gifts. And it's beautiful because after I can find your shadow, then I can use Reiki to help you realize your gifts, and then you can use your gifts to help people in the world.
Wow. Wow. I love, there's so many tools available to use to access into the dark side or the shadow side, and then to come out on the other end. So obviously people are at a point, it's not like, oh, I just want to find out about my shadow. Obviously these people that are coming to you, there's some kind of pain they're in, right? That they know there's something else they're supposed to be doing or giving or making an impact. Something is not being released from them. There is an unfulfillment that they sense within them. Do you see are you seeing an age group specifically that this happens to? are you seeing it more with single women? Are you seeing it more with married women? Like, how are you, what are you, is there a kind of like a, something that you constantly are seeing over and over and over again?
So my age, what I'm starting to see is later 30s, mid 40s, you know, and that makes complete sense to me because it's like, okay, I'm starting to realize I'm getting toward the later part of my life. And there's some part of me I haven't quite fulfilled yet. I haven't done yet. I don't know what it looks like. So I help you put the pieces together by understanding how to basically heal from your past, be aware of your past, and know how to create a present that matches where your future wants to go.
Yeah, fantastic. Because yeah, I definitely believe that. I believe every woman goes through that kind of transformation that's going to happen, and some make it through, and others just go into more drugs and alcohol, right? Because it's so painful to look at, and so many people are unfulfilled instead of doing the work and stepping into it and taking a risk and seeing what's available. We sometimes smother ourselves with other substances to not look at those things. Anyway. Okay, so how do people get a hold of you? What are your social media coordinates so people can reach out to you if they are watching this and they want to find more about your program, they want to follow you in your Facebook group. You have a vibrant Facebook group going on. What's going on there?
So I will include the links, if that's okay with you, Dallas,
Yeah.
in this live. So I have a group, like I said, Empowered Empath and Highly Sensitive Black Women. However, it's not just for Black women, it's for women of all colors. So if you'd like, you can join my group. And yes, it is a very vibrant group. We have about 428 women in there, I want to say right now. So yes, it's very interactive. And I do live trainings, and you get, action items and things like that. So you can continue on your growth journey for free in the beginning. And then also, I'll be including the link for a Reiki session with me. So usually what I do is I charge $197 for Reiki sessions. However, as an entry,
How much do you charge? How much do you charge?
197 197 for Reiki
197?
sessions. Yes. However,
197 for one Reiki session. How long does that last? And do you do them on Zoom?
so I do them on Zoom, and they are, from a distance, so we don't have to worry about, social distancing with that. Um, So they usually are 197. However, as an entry, because I feel like it needs to be available to all so you can understand the power of Reiki. As an entry for your first Reiki session, they are $47. So I'll be including the link for the Reiki session, and it will be a 45-minute session for $47 in the chat box, in the comment
Wow.
box.
Wow. Heather, jump on this. So Heather is watching this. Yeah, that is who charges that amount? I mean, nobody. This is a deal. This is a deal. Wow. Incredible. And then people can work with you, and your program is a 3-month program, a 4-month program. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So the program that I have right now currently is a 4-month program. And what we do is we have modules. We meet twice a week. So you have the option of either a Saturday. Oh, excuse me, my phone is on it. Ooh, sorry about that. So you have
We
the
don't
option
hear it.
of meeting um, on a Tuesday or a Saturday. So you have 2 separate meeting times. You have modules available. We have a Slack channel where we communicate as well. So it's a very interactive group, and you have a lot of different points where you can get in touch with me and interact with me. It's super high value, and quite a few trainings that you get for 4 months. And like I said, it's a lifelong journey. So I definitely encourage you to hop on the $47 Reiki session.
Fantastic. Oh, wow. Radiance, I'm always a pleasure for me to talk to you. You're just so full of life and love. And I'm just so, just wow over your transformation of your journey, and that you now are doing what your heart is telling you to do, and really making an impact on these women out there. which is extraordinary. And being a Reiki master, I mean, that is something in itself that's a wow, absolute wow. So, Heather here is dominating the feed, and Patricia is on. And so hi, you guys, and anyone else who's watching this later, just say hashtag replay so I know who's watching. Radiance will put the link to her Facebook group in the comments or in the description box. And then you're also going to put the link to the $47 session to sign up with you, right? And then from there, there's a sign up of what time is available, etc.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's wrap it up. And thank you so much for hopping on here short notice. And I'll be talking to you soon.
Thank
Bye,
you for having me,
everyone.
Dallas.
You're welcome.